Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to Sajdah's Saturday Morning Coffee Talk, where we talk about life, love, and business. So, tune in. We're just going to chat this morning, talk about some things to get your Saturday off right. Um, and I'll see you in a few. We'll give y'all time to get in the room and give the algorithm time to let y'all know that we're live. And give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. I'm using my earphone, and if it sounds muffled, let me know. All right, see you in a few.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
alaikum, everyone. Peace and blessings. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. I want to make sure I don't sound muffled. I'm actually using my earpiece. Um, and forgive my dark outfit. It's so summery out here. I should have on something more summery, but I was so busy trying to get this set up that I forgot to change clothes. So forgive me, you all. So give me some feedback in the chat if you can hear me okay. Okay, thank you everyone. Appreciate it, appreciate it. I see y'all here. Y'all in here early today, huh? So, I hope everybody had a good week. If you didn't tune in yesterday to uh, Friday Coffee Talks, I suggest you go back and check it out. We're talking about love spaces and trust spaces and just community development with one another. Let me know what y'all drinking. I got some decaf coffee in a cup that I got from um, some of my family members at the palace. Um, Thank you, Sister Dawn. Thank you so much. Okay, family. So, what I want to talk about today? I didn't prepare anything. I didn't think about anything. I didn't get a special download for y'all. Um, so if you have something that is on your mind or something you want me to discuss or talk about, oh, thank you so much. If you have a thought that you want me to kind of explore, I'm happy to do so. I didn't uh, prepare anything. So let me shout y'all out while y'all thinking about what y'all want me to talk about this morning and what's on your mind. Just tell me what's on your mind and heart, and I'll see what I get from it. That's Brother Lamont. He says, Walaikum, Assalamu alaikum, good morning. And I'm saying, Walaikum salam. Good morning. Sister Betty says, happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you. Brother Lamont with the thumbs up. Betty with the thumbs up. Mom with the thumbs up says, happy Saturday, everyone. Um, Sister Renee H says, happy Saturday. Troy Scott says, peace, family. Let's see who else we got here. I see Sister Dawn says, yes, you sound and look great. Nana Kose Venture says, good morning, love your voice. Thank you. Thank you so much. Nana, most Nanas are from Ghana. Let me guess. Nana, are you from Ghana? Nana Kose Ventures, are you from Ghana? Um, Sister Monica says, ASA and great Saturday. This is so refreshing and beautiful. Okay, and I'll do better to have some colors and stuff for us next time. Um, Sister Sandra is here. She says summer solstice. Yes. Walaikum salam says happy Saturday and summer solstice to you too, ma'am. Yes, yes, and yes. Sister Alita says Saturday blessings. Love the patio feel. Thank you, sis. Walaikum salam. So let me know what's on your heart, what's on your mind. Y'all know we've been talking about love. We've been talking about creating love spaces. We've been talking about a lot of things in that just to begin to cultivate the right mentality and the right spaces for us as we build and develop our businesses. So let me know what's on your heart, on your mind in the chat. I didn't prepare anything. I didn't get a download. And in fact, about it, I wasn't even thinking about it because I was running around trying to get us set up. Okay, yes, I knew Nana was from Ghana. Nana said from Ghana, watching from the Buckeye State, Ohio. All right, Ghana is a a beautiful place. Some of the most beautiful people. They're just nice in Ghana. I remember the last time I was in Ghana, I came there through on the way back from oh no, on the way back from Liberia on the way to Nigeria. And the Ghanaians were just so refreshing. You know, when we got there, they walked us to our connecting gate because we were getting off to, I think, have lunch or something like that. And then once we got off, We came back, they remembered us, and it was just sweet. They've always been sweet in Ghana. I've always had good experiences in Ghana. It's a great, great and beautiful place. Okay, y'all ain't got nothing y'all want to talk about. Because if y'all don't tell me something, I'll be talking about the birds and the trees, and the birds are out here chirping. It's like I don't even have my bird feeder out, but as soon as I came out here, I don't know if you all can hear them because I have this noise reduction earpiece on. Um, but they're very loud, but it's very beautiful and very melodic. Um, I always try to, one of the things I love to do is to just sit outside and meditate and listen to the birds and just see what they have to say and what they're trying to communicate and what comes to me as I hear them chirping and talking. And you get used to it. You start knowing which ones are kind of warning other people that you're out there. You start learning which ones are singing, which ones are sending messages. They have distinct sounds. So Nana said, you've seen it all, experience. Yeah. I've been to Ghana 3 times, and each of the 3 times, the people were very, very warm, very beautiful. Been to the slave castles there. Um, Scary stuff, interesting stuff. Um, I've been to the slave port in Cotonou, Benin as well. Um, the one in Cotonou, the one in, they all just, they're all horrible, but the one in Cotonou is distinctively kind of weird. Um, I'm gonna switch these things around. Uh, this tells me that they're clear. So let me know if you can hear me. If not, we'll go without them because you guys can then hear the birds. Um, so all right. So while you're thinking about what you want me to talk about, let me give y'all some announcements. Um, as I mentioned, we're taping a new series connected to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House that started yesterday. Um, and I was literally exhausted afterwards. It was a long, long day. Actually, no, it started Thursday. Yesterday was extremely long um, with the tapings. Um, this Thursday, we're going to be doing a series from my old book, The Mind of an Entrepreneur. So you're supposed to read chapter 1 and the intro by Thursday because we're going to talk about that. Um, what else? Then I have a new book coming out. And we're going to reveal it in an interesting type of way. It's going to have a companion podcast with it. Um, and I think you guys will like it. I'm toying whether or not I should do it like on Fanbase or something like that. I want to do it on a different platform because YouTube and Facebook, they really do suppress, data. We could be here in the chat and oh, thank you, Mom. We could be here in the chat and I could see a certain number of you all in the chat, but then YouTube will say there were only 2 people viewing, but they really do suppress and people can't see it and they can't find the data. And, but everywhere I go, literally, even places people I don't know, people are like, I watched the show, I watched the show. So I'm thinking about doing it, launching the new podcast on Fanbase so that we can just have more freedom, right? So that means you guys would have to come over to Fanbase. I may do both for a minute. I'm still working on that. I'm working that through in my mind. We'll see what happens. But Fanbase is a Black-owned platform. You guys probably have seen Isaac Hayes III out here talking about it and just discussing the need for us to have our own platform. I really wish they had introduced the new verses. There's a verses that's coming out, more verses that are coming out. I don't really like the whole verses concept anyway in our community. I think we should be celebrating one another, but either way, they got a new verses coming out. And I think that Swiss and his partner did a deal with Elon Musk and X, formerly known as Twitter. And I think it would have been so cool if they had launched that on Fanbase just to help the brother build up his platform. I know there's checks and stuff like that involved, but sometimes, we got to forego the big check on the front end to help support some infrastructure of our own. And it just would have been so cool if they had did the verses on fan base. But that's just me, right? That's just me. I'm all about building and developing. Um, so yeah, so the companion podcast, we're determining the platform for that. Um, then there's the book that's coming out, but you'll get the podcast first. We're going to review everything coming up. And I'm going to just continue to share with you. I've been in business and around business and doing business for so many years. Since I was a little girl, I've been studying it. And I was very blessed to have the forethought that I wanted my first job to be something that allowed me to experience business on a level that my competitors didn't experience. So most people got their first job and they went to a company and they sat at the same desk every day in and day out. And I just didn't want that. I'm not that employable where I can just be sitting at the same desk every day. And so I went into public accounting. That was a blessing. But then when I went back into the corporate world after working at the National Center and for the nation, I was blessed to go back into business consulting, which really helped because that allowed me to see the insides and the workings of a lot of companies. So while most people out here talking about business, they know one business, one company, one industry. Um, I probably was in and out of 5 or 6 companies a year, if not more, depending on the client. And that lasted for a very, very long time. And then I've built and developed my own businesses. Um, and so I bring that plethora of experience with me, plus just my desire and my calling in business. So personally, I don't think anything related to Black business and doing for self should not involve me in our community. Um, but I mean, I have clients outside of our community, people from the Middle East, Hispanic, their race doesn't really matter. It's just about building economic development, specifically for people who are um, disenfranchised and people who have a hard time navigating the business world because they don't necessarily have that level of support. Um, and what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. I've been talking to us about Black people, about those of us in businesses, even if it's a small business, that we start to employ our teens and our youth as interns so that by the time they get ready to graduate from college, they already know where they're going to work. And we should have this automatic pipeline of new graduates and new employees that we can tap into. That is a big, big thing in the broader community. Most of the, not most, but I would say probably 50 to 60% of the people I went to school with, they already knew where they were going to work. And they were working for companies that were owned by people that looked like them. Whether there was an Italian guy I went to school with, I graduated with, he was going back to his family's Italian restaurant chain, and he was going to help them to spread and scale. Um, there was another girl I went to school with. She was related to the Chicago mogul Marshall Field, and she was going back to Marshall Fields, I think as a buyer or something like that. But there were a number of people that I was working or went to school around who were going back to that. But what happens with us? We get out and we got to scramble for a job. We got to pound the pavement. We got to go do applications, and that doesn't necessarily help us, and it doesn't help us in business because we need that new, fresh talent. And don't be so quick to trip on the fact that maybe people can't pay you what you think you might get at a broader company, trust me, you're going to learn more. I was watching and thinking about some of our recent young graduates, and they go out here and get jobs. And even if they're working in a big firm, a lot of times they're not learning anything those first 1 or 2 years. They're not being taught the game. They're going to be taught how to be good employees. They're going to be taught how to check the box. But are they really going to be taught the world of business? How can they run their and start their own engineering firm, their own architectural firm, their own restaurant? How do they do it? That's not going to be taught by them. And they're going to go into the world. They're going to learn all these bad habits and all these things that are ingrained in the business infrastructure that is predominant, out here today. So this is something that's important to me. I also want to see us take our businesses from being a hustle or a hobby into becoming real businesses. And if we have a business, teaching us how to scale and even franchise it. Because if you've got a coffee shop or an ice cream shop or a burger joint, there's no reason why you can't create systems and processes that are consistent and scalable, so that somebody else can come and open up the same coffee shop or whatever, as long as we teach them franchising and um, the importance of following instructions. So that's important. So that's a big mission of mine. I have a couple big projects that I got in the pipeline that I'm working on that I'm excited to tell you guys about once they start to flow. So we'll continue to share that. But owning, scaling, opening up, and expanding our businesses is really, really, really key, and it's very, very important. And because our need, so we start talking about things like reparations and healing, it is so holistically, it's addressing a holistic list of needs, or it's a holistic issue. um, we combine proper handling of people and spirituality and conduct and rules in our training for entrepreneurship. Why? Because otherwise you're just going to mimic the very system that you say doesn't work, that has pinched you off from the wealth. And so, in order to prevent us from mimicking that system, we're teaching um, how to handle ourselves, how to handle one another, how to resolve conflicts, how to negotiate, um, what should be included in our HR policies and procedures. How do we incorporate and develop new business models that are more sustainable, that are more, I was going to say user friendly, but friendly to everybody, both the owner and the employee. Um, all of that kind of stuff, risk management and critical analysis, and all of those things that are very, very important that oftentimes get overlooked when we open up our businesses. So those are going to be some of the things that are going to be really key, because you got a lot of people out here like, start your business, make you some money, do this or that, but they don't tell you that they can get you to step one, but what about step two, three, four, and five? Um, and in terms of how you set up your business model, they can't really tell you that. They can tell you what may look nice, and they can tell you what may work, but they can't tell you what industry specific business model will work for you. And that's another key thing. Depending on what industry you're in, everything is not cookie cutter. Yeah, there's a way to get out here and hustle and, make you some money, especially online. But how do we sustain that? How do we transfer generational wealth? How do we understand what the rules and regulations are in our industry so that we can learn to expand and scale it? Because things are different in terms of what is standard in the restaurant business versus hospitality versus financial services versus medical or health and wellness. So there's different nuances, okay, different ways that you acquire customers. Um, and it's not to say that you have to follow those rules, but um, even if you don't follow those rules, understanding what those rules are is going to help you as you begin to design that new business model, especially since those old business models no longer work. Let me know if you have any questions in the chat. I see a few comments. Sister Dawn says, that's so true. Yes, I recently saw that clip where he talked about is relying on their platforms. We definitely need our own. Yeah, that was Isaac Hayes III talking about that platform. Yeah, because they suppress our data, they suppress, and then people, and then here's the thing, we're so judgmental, right? So let's say somebody else creates a show and it's a little more ratchet, say, than my show, then people will consider this not being a real show because that's more ratchet, it gets more attention, it may be spreading more filth, or it just may not be uplifting us and teaching and training us as much. And so it becomes an issue. So if this show could be on a platform where it was not suppressed, where there were not people who were worried about us teaching folks new business models and how to navigate the world of business, we would definitely be bigger than most of these shows on this platform out here. But it gets suppressed, and even sometimes when you search for the hashtags and stuff, they won't put it up. So I rely on you guys to make this go viral. I think last month we reached somewhere around 20,000 people that were not subscribers, and that's because you guys have to forward the videos, tell people. You guys got to support, give a love offering, Sajdah Enterprises. That way we can keep it going and fight against the systems that are working to suppress this type of data. Nana says, very well articulated. You are always worth my time. Thank you so much. Walaikum salam, Brother Victor. Thank you. Business mind, 100%. Thank you. Yes, business model. Sister Monica says, just to share on self-love, I've been experiencing biz and personal trials, and also while supporting others. So hard to lovingly enact a border control concept for my life to protect my space to progress forward. You know what, sis? It is difficult and it is a challenge. And that's why it's important to make sure that we pray our way through it. Um, Here's why it's a challenge. Because on the one hand, you're going through your healing process. And when you're healing from issues and traumas that you've allowed in your life, you have to then begin to create borders, because other people who are dealing with traumas, depending on how they deal with their traumas, depending on where they are in their life, they can really encroach upon your spirit. You know, as you begin to shine up your vessel and your light shines, as we say, Sister Monica, oftentimes on the show, what happens is not only are you shining a light on yourself, but you're shining a light on people who are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or what they should have been doing in their life. And so people get upset, people get angry, they get mad at you. And so sometimes when you're trying to be your authentic self, it becomes difficult. So yes, you do have to have border control. You have to create boundaries. You have to create emotional boundaries, and you have to create spiritual boundaries. You gotta have to make some adjustments. At the same time, you're balancing, you know, relationships, whether they're business relationships, whether they're work relationships, whether they're family relationships. Excuse me. You're trying to balance all of that out at the same time as heal yourself. And I would really honestly say to you that you have to err on the side of healing yourself. Because if we don't heal, then all of this work that we're talking about doing in terms of opening our own businesses and creating cooperative economics and helping one another, it goes in vain if we're cursing each other out, if we're upset with one another, if we're hating on one another, if we don't like each other, if we're competing against one another. It doesn't matter, because we're never going to get that stuff off the ground. And really, to be honest with you, in terms of us as a people, we're toast if we don't get that together. Um, so I would say, Sister Monica, as you're working, err on the side of healing. Work on yourself. And as you begin to work on yourself, that's right, sis. As you begin to work on yourself, you'll begin to attract the right behaviors and the right people. She said, currently in therapy and loving it. Yes, yes, and yes. That is an excellent way to begin to see past your blind spots. I do a lot of coaching for people, and what I find that a lot of us have is a lot of blind spots. It's a lot of things we don't see because we get into survival mode, right? We go through a trauma, we've been hurt, we've been challenged, our ego kicks in, then we feel some kind of way because we're not as progressive as we should be, or maybe we're not doing the things that we think we should be doing. And now we get all defensive and crazy about it. And this goes into really affecting and impacting our mental health. And and then what happens, we get these blind spots. We're afraid to be vulnerable, and we don't want nobody telling us nothing. And we lose sight of the fact that the world and the universe we live in is governed by laws. It's a science. Um, And so if we go into our little cocoon, our little space where we're healing from trauma, and we only want to be doing our healing the way we want to do it, and it's all about us and what we say, it's going to be very, very difficult for us to heal and to make progress, because in many cases the trauma is making us work against the grain of science and the way that the world and the universe works. See, part of our problem, part of our challenge, and I say our because it's all of ours, is that we've been indoctrinated, whether it's through pop culture or propaganda, even oftentimes through church, to do things that are against our nature or against the laws of the universe and against the way of life that we should be living. And so we live in that way and we think, no, I'm going to do things my way and this is how I want to do it. Well, what if the way you want to live is contrary to the laws of the universe? Well, you may do okay for a minute, but you're going to be pinching yourself off from where it is that um, you should be. And I won't go too much into that, but I think you guys get the gist of what I'm saying. Any other questions and comments? Anybody else making any progress in the space of healing and love? Sister Monica says that is actual and factual. Praise be to Allah. Yeah, we get in our own, we get in our own way because we're trying to force a square peg in a round hole, and we're just pushing, pushing, pushing. And if we just looked at, even if we knew what the laws of the universe were and how we should be conducting ourselves, I just think it would be much easier for us. But because we don't have that knowledge, and some of us don't want to talk to anybody, and we refuse to see somebody, we don't get an opportunity to heal. And I would say to anybody that it's never too late. It's never too late to get in therapy. There's free therapy out there. There's people who do therapy. A lot of people have insurance. You can get therapy, but therapy is key. And if you find yourself feeling overwhelmed, have a circle of people that you are comfortable with and trust, that you can call and just talk to, just so that you can kind of move yourself out of that space. That's also another problem that we have. Many of us are so isolated and so individual. We're not community oriented. And so we don't really have anybody that we can just be like, hey, what you doing? I'm about to come over there and sit down and talk. And that's necessary. You got to have people, in your circle that you can talk things through. And I think also having a therapist is critical and is key. And if you don't feel comfortable having a therapist, get a coach. If you hire me as a coach, I will tell you how far I can go in terms of assisting you and when you really need to work on going to therapy. And I'm not talking about one of these therapies where you just go and talk and they don't say anything bad to you. I'm talking about somebody who's really helping you do some real repair of your life. Nana said, "Isn't it so sad, sis? Community. Yeah, we're missing. Listen, humans are communal beings. We're not some mole that's supposed to be living in the ground, isolated by ourselves. That is not that. Why do you think it is that when they put people in prison to punish them, they put them in solitary confinement and it changes their mental well-being because it's not human. That's not how we're designed. That's not how we're made. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't need time alone. And that doesn't mean that it's not okay to take time by yourself. That is very important. But to just be completely isolated and alone, which so many of us are in our community, um, we lose a lot of our people skills. We lose our ability to love one another. We lose our ability to help one another. We lose our ability to receive love. We lose our ability to receive help. Um, we lose a lot of people skills and a lot of our interactions because um, we're losing. We've lost our ability to be communal with one another. Nana says, it's supposed to be natural. Imagine coming from Africa. Yeah, I can't imagine coming from Africa to the States where everybody's so isolated and it's all about the rugged individualism. And you're coming from Africa where everything is so communal. So even if you do live by yourself in Africa, the community is there, right? There's places where you can go and talk to people, and people are okay with having conversations with you, even if they don't know you and things like that. I would encourage you to learn how to strike up a conversation with anybody. Learn how to talk to people. I'm the kind of person, I never meet a stranger. I and I know a lot of times we don't trust people and folks ask questions and people have alternative agendas, but you got to know how to talk without giving up all your business. You can still talk, but you need that interaction. Look, since we've been doing a lot of these interviews and tapings for um, the new Sajdah House series, I felt my spirituality and my energy levels just go through the roof from just having so many beautiful conversations with people and just us exchanging love and support for one another. You would be surprised. And there's a study out that talked about how many more people became successful in our community when President Barack Obama was in office. And primarily it's because just seeing somebody that looks like you um, means a lot. I'll give you another example. The other day was the first day that I saw a photo of my great grandmother. I had had a spiritual experience. I'll tell you guys about it. So based on what I've been going through, I picked up some new spiritual gifts, and one of them has been people who have made their transition coming to me. Um, I say that at the risk of y'all now going, okay, she's really crazy. We got to suppress this data, but it's the real truth. People who have transitioned on coming to me, it's been strong lately. And I think it might have been last Thursday or Wednesday. A woman came to me, and she was a light skinned mixed race woman. And she had on like a tan or like yellow looking dress. I think it started out kind of like a light tan. And when I looked in her face, she looked like me and my cousin. And I have a cousin that a lot of people say that we look alike, except she was very light. And she had this kind of weird looking hairstyle that was like tucked around like this and going around her face like. And she came to me, and I said, not out loud, but I guess you could say in the spirit, I said, "Hi, how can I help you?" And she said, "I want to be free." And I thought to myself, okay, how can I help her to be free? That's just something I say when these kind of entities come to me. How can I help you? And when I looked down, she had these coaxial cable like things on her ankles. And I reached down and I just snatched it off her ankle. And as I snatched off her ankle, a shadow started to raise. And as the shadow raised and got to her hands, I noticed she had them also on her wrists. And I snatched them off of her wrists. And then the shadow lifted and her dress turned yellow. And she started smiling. She started off really frowning. And but I kept looking at her face. And then the spirit told me who she was, that she was my great grandmother. And then the spirit also said her children were taken from her. And I didn't know what that meant. I won't go into all of that, but and that there was some controversy over her death, but I can't say more than that because I don't know anything more than that. Um, but interestingly enough, I have always, since I was young, been insecure about my nose because I had this thin little nose and it's kind of crooked, right? And she had the same thin, crooked nose. And in that moment, when I saw she had that thin, crooked nose, and I felt so proud that I had seen her, and I realized that ain't nothing wrong with my nose. I got the same crooked nose as my great grandmother, and I was okay with it. I was okay with it. And so I say this all the time that when we start to feel insecure about ourselves, um, I think if we knew our history, some of us don't like our hands or our feet, but I think if you knew that there was somebody great in your history that had those hands and feet, you'd be okay with it. You'd be all right with it. I was looking at the shape of her face, and I've always kind of felt some kind of way about it. And in that instant moment, I was very proud of the shape of my face and my nose. And even though it's a little crooked, I was okay with it. And so I was telling somebody the other day, I said, you know what? If you knew that the Queen of Sheba was built like you probably wouldn't be trying to change your body because you'd be like, look, I'm built like the Queen of Sheba. I'm built like Isis. You know, you probably wouldn't be tripping, but I think we trip because we got this blind spot behind us. We can't see. We got this history that we don't even know. Um, and so I'm just grateful for her allowing me to see her. I had never seen her before, and I was describing her to my mother, and she knew that my aunt had a picture of her, and when they sent the picture, she was the lady. She looked exactly the way I described her. I'd never seen her before, um, and the pensive look that she had on her face in the photo was the same pensive look that she had when she came to me when she said, "I want to be free." And I just remember being very willing to figure out how to help her to be free. Um, yeah, I'm grateful that I was present to assist her, and that has now happened twice to me in the last 3 weeks. And so I don't know if it's a new gift or a new thing or what. The other person asked me not to. allowed people to forget about her. And so, it is what it is. It was a beautiful experience. I'm still sorting through it, still sorting through what she meant when she said, I want to be free, still sorting through what that means for me, if anything, because, in that kind of spirit world, you don't own anything. So I wasn't able to own her. I wasn't able to say, oh, that's my great grandmother. Or I wasn't able to say, oh, that's my nose or that's my face. It was just, or when they showed me her daughters and they said she lost her daughters, I wasn't sure what that meant because it was contrary to a story, the family story. And I wasn't able to say, oh, that's my grandmother, but I was able to recognize it as such, if that makes sense. Um, I was able to go, this nose and that nose are similar. I was able to make that comparison, but I wasn't able to own it, if that makes sense. So there's no ego in that space. So if you're trying to own the situation, like I own you, like that's mine, or I'm so gifted, or I'm so all of that, then it goes away. And so in removing ownership and removing that part of the ego allows you to reign in the sovereignty of your ego, which means it's just the ability to embody and identify who you are, but not in a possessive, ownership, competitive type of way. So it's a very interesting but freeing space, because you don't own anything, you don't claim anything, nothing is yours. And I could sense that as long as I didn't go into ownership or competition, or you know obviously there's no jealousy and envy, as long as I didn't go into that, the experience became richer and it went on longer. And um and I would tell you when it stopped, and it probably would have went on longer, was when I saw the two little girls and the spirit said she lost her daughters. I said in my mind, I think I said something to the effect of, I think that's my grandmother. And the minute I owned it, it went away. But as long as I didn't own it and I just saw the little girls for who they were, and not chose to recognize them in that space, um, I was able to look at them longer, and I could see them. I could see what they had on. I could see their dresses, their little shoes, and um, everything. But anyway, and as I have more of those experiences, mom says, oh, this is my mom. She said, you described her hair before you saw her picture. Yeah. I just was, I knew who she was, but I didn't know who she was. Like the spirit told me that she was connected to me. And then when I came out of the vision, um, I knew that that was my great grandmother, but I'd never seen her before. I didn't know her. Um, so anyway, so interesting stuff, right? And there was another person that came to me. I'll share that. I've shared it with a couple people, but I'll share that as well. But anyway, so I just wanna I just want us to be in a space of healing. And I want us to be in a space where we can do for self, so that some of the stresses of that everyday grind we don't have to deal with, but that we can have all the resources and everything that we need, um, in order to support and help and build our community. One of my prayers for each and every one of my clients is that they have all the resources that they could ever need, want, or desire, so that they can help and support and love their family and their community. So, all right, family, with that, stay tuned. I'll come out a few other mornings and do some more morning coffee talks. I'm trying to get us used to doing it. And so I'll make a quick announcement. It'll kind of be like pop-ups. And we'll we'll do some more talks and some more chats. If I have an experience and it's something that I can share, or if it's about somebody that I don't mind sharing, I don't mind sharing those as well, because for whatever reason this is starting to happen, and I'm grateful for it, and I welcome it. So, okay, family, peace and blessings. If you don't have the book, The Mind of an Entrepreneur, go to Amazon, grab the book, read the intro and the first chapter. If you already have it, reread it, intro and first chapter. And we're going to talk about that on Thursday in our new series. Okay, peace and blessings, family. Don't forget, give a love offering. Go to Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises. Um, and if you want to bring me on for coaching, you want some insight into what it is that you're going through, what you're dealing with. Um, I've done, sort of what I call insight coaching for a lot of people, just kind of helping them see where their blind spots are. But make sure that if you bring me on for that type of coaching, that you're open and willing um, to to be open and willing, okay? Because I'm not going to own whether or not you accept it. I'm going to just tell you what I see, what I get from experience, from intuition, and if I can coach you on how to get your business together or how you should be as a business person or to solve some problems, I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to own the outcome. So it's going to be up to you to do it and to move forward. Okay. Thank you, family. I appreciate the love offerings. If you guys have sent any, I really, really appreciate it. Keep them coming because we want to keep the content free. I know that the subscription world is where everybody is going. I'm just trying to create a little bit of a different model. Sponsorships, if you got a business and you want to sponsor this show or another, just let me know. Send me an email, mindofanentrepreneur@gmail.com. We'll make you a little 30-second commercial, and it could play during the show, at the beginning of the show, and you can be a sponsor. And that's going to also help us to continue. Because if we move into doing tapings, we have to have money to pay the photographers and the videographers and the editors and all of that stuff. Okay. Nana says open and willing. So all you got to do, Nana, is just go to book sajdahwendymuhammad.com. Set up your session. If you buy one, I'll give you another one for free, and we'll just talk it through and see what we can do to help push you to that next level. That is my strong will and strong desire, and I've been blessed to be able to help now hundreds of people move their life to the next level, their life and their businesses to the next level. So this is no cap. I'm a coach with receipts. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Love you all very, very much. And I will see you all. I think this week we'll do a couple lives this week and just pop out here and get more time together. Okay. And most certainly, if Allah gives me another experience, and if it's one that I can share, I would definitely pop out here and share it. Okay. Peace and blessings, family. Love you all.